What up, everyone? Dragging back again with another edition of the Kaiju commentary. On this one, we are watching 1996's Rebirth of Mothra, the start of the epic Rebirth of Mothra trilogy. Now, when you see this opening text appear on your screen, that is your cue to start listening to us. So we're going to kick things off in 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Kaiju commentary. Today we are watching 1996's Rebirth of Mothra. 1, I guess we'll say, since it is the first in a trilogy and only the second time Mothra has appeared without Godzilla. And I would say that I think it's the first time she's appeared in a non-Godzilla canon continuity. So in these films, Godzilla does not exist, or at the very least, they never...
She gets to be in the spotlight.
Yeah, they never make mention of him. So I'm just kind of assuming if a huge radioactive dinosaur had a meltdown and destroyed Tokyo the year before, someone might have thought to bring it up. But
by the way, this is a really nice shot.
yeah, it's a nice shot. It's very colorful.
The lighting was very nice.
It's very different from kind of the gloom and doom kind of Godzilla film that came out the year prior.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think this is definitely branding this film to a much younger audience. This film honestly feels very Showa-esque in a lot of ways, in the sense that it's a lot more kid-friendly. Oh,
Kid-friendly.
here's my question.
Lumberjacking.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was going to make a really bad joke. Like, if a tree falls in the wood and no one's... I guess they're around.
Well, they're the ones doing it.
Oh, no!
They're destroying it. Look at it. Look at it. Fuck you guys.
Oh. By the way, I love that little cameo by Chip and Dale and the Rescue Rangers we had. Anyone?
And Woody Woodpecker, I guess.
What?
There was a woodpecker.
Oh.
Does nobody remember Woody Woodpecker?
Yeah, well, they're making a movie of Woody Woodpecker that's coming out this year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
Let that soak in for a while, kids. It's kind of funny because the last time we saw Mothra was in a Godzilla film and had a very kind of environmentally heavy theme. There was like a company that was destroying part of the ecosystem, and they were trying to use Mothra to kind of kidnap the twins to kind of use them as publicity. And again, Mothra. So it seems like all the movies she's in, or most of them anyway, always have something to do with
them fucking up the environment.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because Mothra is very much, well, like Godzilla, she's very much like a consequence to our poor behavior, I guess. But
yeah, what's that?
Godzilla is more of like a wrath. Godzilla feels more like a punishment, where Mothra feels more like a fucking PSA. But basically, Mothra is like the Japanese Captain Planet.
Yes.
Now I'm just picturing Mothra with like the turquoise mullet.
Oh.
Someone go ahead and go in Photoshop and shoot that for us, would you? Just Mothra flying around with that mullet.
And somehow wearing a spandex suit.
Yeah, I can see all the fan art now.
This could be a priceless artifact. You got a screwdriver?
Yeah. Well, this is an American film, like, yeah, give me a hammer.
I know, right?
And here we have the fairies. And this is the first time they're not twins. Because traditionally there's always been the Mothra twins,
Like,
but...
what the fuck you doing? You brute? Just fucking stabbing it?
Yeah, seriously, can't you just kind of try to wedge that a little bit underneath?
I know.
Oh.
And her.
Yeah,
I
we have
love
the
her.
Mothra. I think that's why they're not twins this time, because now it's more like sisters. Mm-hmm. So unless we've gotten triplets, but like I love we have like a bad apple fairy.
I know.
It is the smallest portal to hell ever.
I know.
Oh. You suck.
Oh.
You still suck.
Child.
They just run him down and beats him. I'm gonna beat you now for sucking. I love how you can tell he's sliding for real. Is it wrong that I wanted to see that kid just wipe out so bad? Does that make me a bad person?
A little bit.
Just see him just go crashing into something.
Little shit.
Yeah. Look at her. Look at her. She's got that shit unlocked, too. Oh, Jesus. Well, now she's crying for real. Like, he's like legit
She's
assaulting.
just like, but why?
See, the girls I grew up with are just cold-cocked their older brothers. They would have done that. I grew up with some mean girls, let me tell you something. We were more afraid of the girls in my neighborhood than any of the dudes. Like, a guy really wanted to, like, get back at you. He'd be like, wait right here, I'm going to go get my sister. And you'd be like, oh, shit, I gotta go. Damn. Yeah, you hang up that phone. Look at him, he's like, I guess I'm not going home tonight.
Let me just, toss around this potentially priceless
I know,
artifact.
right? Like,
no big deal.
nowadays, that should be up on eBay.
I know, right?
I also like to, right here, even though this is strangely enough like a rebranding of the Mothra character, because at this point she's so iconic. Mm-hmm. They don't like build her up; they just kind of jump right to it. Which, whoa! So it's like Mothra's like, why are you yelling at me? But you know what I mean? Like, depending on how you look at it, this could be like, well, shouldn't we kind of But again, she's not really any different.
No.
So when I say they're rebranding the character, only in the sense that she's...
Or should you say rebirth?
Oh.
Is the title.
We're rebirthing. Well, she's not even really...
Listen. It's fine.
It's fine. But I'm just saying it's interesting because aside from Godzilla being scratched out of the continuity, she's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Except now the fairies, now there's a third one who,
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Even though she kind of...
Yeah, you thought he wasn't coming home. Bullshit. We got that message loud and clear. Yeah, I thought you weren't going home. I thought maybe you might be going to a hotel tonight and sleeping there instead. That's what I thought. She just throws out the wall. Oops, sorry, it slipped. Maybe you should go to the hotel.
So why would there be a chain there, dummy?
I always hate when people did shit like that, where they would take things on shelves that were so valuable you could never touch it. I remember my mom had things like that growing up, and I was just like, then why do you have it out if it's so damn valuable and you're so worried about it breaking?
Put it in a case at least.
Yeah, like something, or like a vault, or I don't know. Like, I've recently come into possession of some very valuable things, which I am not legally allowed to say until perhaps a certain something airs on Japanese television. But my point is,
that makes it sound illegal.
It's not illegal. It's just due to copyright issues. I'm not yet allowed to promote. Point is, I don't have it just sitting on a shelf. I have it tucked away somewhere very safe. So now I'm gonna just sit in the dark drinking while I watch my son sleep.
Isn't that the daughter? I didn't actually pay attention.
Oh, it is the daughter. The point is, you've been gone all day. Your wife is clearly unsatisfied.
Sometimes I feel like somebody's watching me.
Yeah, really.
Ain't got no privacy.
Like, seriously, if I come after a long day of work like that and our kids are asleep, I'm not going to just sit there in the dark watching our children while I drink.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I understand if you want to peek in, but yeah, don't go up on the bed.
Yeah, he's just hanging up. I'm just cracking one open. It's like Miller time now. It's like, whoa, a little weird, dude. A couple steps back.
By the way, I love their fucking outfits in these movies. They're so good.
Well, again, because they're not twins, I like how there's okay, so there's no reason for them to try to do the identical everything.
Yeah.
So I like how they make them so it's funny because actually it's the opposite now. Instead of them being all identical, and also they're not talking in unison.
Yeah.
They're playing to the strength of them not being twins. They're making them individualistic, which I think is it's kind of a cool, switcheroo.
Yeah. Yeah, those kids got a fucking phone in their room.
That's Japan. I remember when I was in Okinawa in '97, kids had cell phones. People were walking around with cell phones, and I was like, whoa, a cellular telephone? How does that work?
She's adorable.
It's going to be Pennywise.
Oh, no. I love their house, how it's like a loft up there.
Yeah.
Like the rooms are, I'm assuming all the bedrooms are up there.
It's like a giant kid's room.
Then again, I guess if they get, you get too drunk or something, a little ladder would be
Whoa.
pretty rough.
After the office
Maybe
party.
Maybe that's why the dad was hanging in the bed. He was like, "Well, I'm gonna get hammered, so won't make it back down."
That's sad.
Yeah. Look at, they have a table on the table, or a phone on the table there, and besides, I can talk. I promise. I just am not doing very well right now.
Normally I'm fine, but it's not really a fossil. It's like a relief of some kind.
I know.
Oh shit! I'm gonna have to go deal with this, aren't I? But yeah, no, it really feels like that's kind of Mothra's. Oh.
Oh no.
Damn. She's like she's possessed.
Kind of is.
What just happened?
She's like.
By the way, I love how they did that to that kid.
I know.
What are the child labor laws in Japan at this time? So we're going to throw him against a wall. We're going to run him across the table.
Oh, you kids are abusing each other? Wait, what, husband? Let me leave the child or the children.
See, right here, this could be like a very different movie. Yeah, he's like, yeah. Look, yeah, you get the fuck out. Come back with an exorcist. Okay,
Dude, I love that little dragon. He's so cool.
I know. Oh, jeez. That was kind of shit. Look at him. You just took that shit? Damn.
Damn. Yikes.
It's like she's preparing for her first breakup. All she's missing is a pint of Haagen-Dazs.
Jesus, she's really going for it.
What? Oh, that's his first response. Hey, come down here. No, it is kind of cool how they did like an evil sister this time around. Mm-hmm. Oh, cute puppy. It's kind of a big dog for Japan too.
I know.
Although it's kind of weird. I kind of feel. I remember when we did the last Mothra movie with like Batra and all that with Chris, and Chris was even saying too.
I can clearly tell that dog is not growling. He's like, just let me love you. He looks so happy.
But I was saying, like, we were joking, like, Batra should have had his own or her twins. Yeah. And they could have been, like, the cool, like, stereotypical bad girl twins.
Well, just like her.
I figured basically had, like, two of her. And we were joking, so they'd always have, like, Marilyn Manson playing. They wouldn't have to do
twins, necessarily.
Well, I think for that movie, because, again, Mothra has twins, so Batra have to. But because in this film, there's no evil Mothra. So there's just kind of like, that sibling that,
Why do I always get the butt? Is that a picture? They fight over who gets to ride on Mothra's butt. Or I guess that's technically not Mothra. That's Fairy.
Fairy. Is that which, like, if you were one of them, is that, like, what you would, like, do? Like, argue who gets to ride on the butt?
Yes. I guess you get more room back there. So.
Oh, okay. So you're saying it's not good to ride on the butt. Like, you wouldn't want the butt. You made it sound like they're fighting over Mothra's butt. That's what I was getting at. Like, so basically what you're telling me is...
It's kind of like the equivalent of shotgun in a car.
Yeah, but see, I like that because I don't want to drive.
I know.
I want to be
true.
driven. So basically, it's like you want Mothra's butt. So what have we? Okay, so let's review, kids. If you ever get a chance to ride on Mothra, make sure you get up on that ass because damn.
Oh Jesus, I forgot about that. Poor mom.
You know, this kind of reminds me. It kind of reminds me of Gremlins.
I know.
Like when they like all hatch and they start like causing mischief. Like the mom gets like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?"
Seriously though, it's such a good puppet. I mean, I think right there it's CG, right?
Maybe. I don't know if it's CG. It might be like
or just like
imposed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how quirky this movie is. Oh. Okay, this is gonna sound like a dumb question, but well, we all gotta grow up sometime, right? No, I was gonna say this is kind of shit I think about when I watch the movie over and over and over again, and all the obvious stuff is like out of the way. At that size, would that level of alcohol be like instant like alcohol poisoning? Think about it. You know, like if you're that small, imagine the percentage of like concentration of alcohol and that beer, and you basically just had like a bucket's worth like just dumped into your mouth. Like,
yeah,
wouldn't that like kill her? Oh.
Oh. Poor thing.
Oh Jesus.
Damn.
Mothra Home Invasion, the movie. This is so sadistic. You know, it's interesting because at this point, the Gamma trilogy was kind of like in full swing. We already had 2 of the 3 films already out. And again, they were very much successfully... I mean, they came after the Heisei Godzilla films of the 90s, but...
All her valuables.
I'm kind of wondering if Toho focused more on something kid-friendly because, A, they already did the Godzilla franchise, and B, instead of having to be in direct competition with the Gamma films, because that's the thing. Toho was distributing the Gamma movies, so they were making some money off them.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if they were trying to make something too that was not at all in competition with them, because clearly the audience. I mean, all kaiju fans are going to watch all kaiju movies, so we're watching these movies, and yes, we'll watch the Gamma movies.
You know what? I know these are supposed to be more kids' movies, but these are good movies. They're
fun.
No,
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying in terms of like just the interest.
I know.
The Gamma movies are clearly. Which is funny because Gamma was supposed to be the children's kaiju, but those movies, in terms of like seriousness, are clearly meant to appeal to an older audience than this film. So I'm kind of wondering if Toho maybe did that so they could kind of market it to a different demographic to kind of ensure, sales. Because obviously, for someone like me, I mean, I like these movies. I really enjoy them. They're fun. But if I had to pick which one, I'd rather watch a Godzilla movie. I'd rather watch the 90s Gamma films. But if you're like 5, 6, 7 years old and you're seeing this might be the greatest thing you've ever seen.
It's fun.
Well, yeah, exactly. But because I'm a cynical bastard with a sordid history, I like gloom and doom. So I'm just saying.
Let's just put that back on.
Yeah.
By the way, like that kid's wearing a jersey thing that says Detroit College.
Oh. That's the weird thing about Japan, though. Like they have a lot of clothing that'll have like English stuff written on it. And I actually saw them wearing like some. We were there recently. At the time of this recording, it's like February 6, 2018, and we were in Japan, Tokyo, a week ago. And I saw a lot of them wearing like shirts and jerseys like American sports teams. And I think for them it's just like a novelty.
Yeah.
I saw somebody wear like a Chicago Bulls hat, and I was like, what? Okay.
It's a big house.
I want someone like to add in like the TIE Fighter and like Millennium Falcon
God.
sound effects here. wonder if that sound the TIE fighters make.
See, that looked like CG.
It might be, because I know by this point there were some. I know the Gamera movies have used some.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, shit.
Let's say this movie's actually pretty violent.
I know.
Let's review. They broke into this house. They possessed a little girl. They like hogtied a mom, like home invasion hentai style.
Oh my god.
Now they're having a fucking shootout in this
Laser
house.
fight.
Like one of them is bleeding from the mouth. Like I say for kids, but oh, damn.
She always kicks him. I feel so bad.
Yeah, but then you find out he's a machine.
Spoilers!
Oh god, sorry folks.
God.
Stop watching now, I guess. Just shoot him in the back. But it is kind of interesting because I'm kind of wondering too if ultimately they decided to make this a trilogy just to have a trilogy, or if they were kind of hoping that maybe that after the Godzilla franchise they could kind of
Why
because
is he hopping?
I know by this point too that they had already agreed to have like Sony make the American Godzilla movie. So I think by that point they were kind of planning it out. So okay, Godzilla will be continued through the American films. So in the meantime, they would make, basically kind of make films for their market and basically kind of cashing in on like another kind of recognizable name, Mothra. But obviously when 98, became the debacle that it was, they very, very quickly resurrected the Godzilla franchise.
Yeah.
But I kind of think that's what this was, because clearly these are not meant to be films that, in terms of like kind of scope and legacy, compete with those other films.
Yes, crawl under the piano. Great idea.
Listen, I don't see how that could go wrong.
The piano that's already slightly fallen over. Awful idea.
By the way, I love the music. Jesus Christ. I love that the music is making kind of like tongue-in-cheek and fun. If you made this like a darker, more sinister like music, like this whole thing could be terrifying. This is actually like horrifying what's happening.
Like put a filter on to make it look dark and
I
spooky.
know. Put some blood smears on the wall.
Like those re-edits.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Also, they have names.
Yeah, that's definitely CG right there.
Yeah, there's some. They're right there.
Oh. Well, that could have been way worse, but it wasn't
Could have
great.
been way better. But okay.
Well, what year did this come out?
No, I mean, yeah,
again?
it's
So-
1996. It's not a big Hollywood production, and it's these films. I don't think were granted the largest budgets, even though some of the tokusatsu effects they have at the end are
Again,
pretty
even the
good.
dragon, though. The dragon puppet's so good. He's like, why not?
well. Again, the CGI was very primitive here, and it kind of went to infancy.
Yeah.
But obviously, when it comes to tokusatsu effects, Toho was
Yeah.
had years of like experience. So surprise, surprise, all the practical stuff is really, really good.
Jesus. Suffocating. It's like, bitch, get off.
Kid comes back with a huge like fly swatter. He's like, Fairy won't be able to fly forever. He just smashes it. Yeah, that surprises you. I like that. You're cool with everything else. Who are you, little people? I guess that's politically correct. What? Are you still possessed by evil? What are you doing? Coincidence?
It's all your dad's fault, to be honest, but I don't know that. Jesus.
Seriously, you always see this like in a Mothra movie where a guy, like a foreman or whatever, goes up to the site and there's people protesting or report. It's like
Mothra, the theme song for this should be, what is that? That We Are the World song we all did.
oh yeah.
It's gonna be like Mothra and the twins and Fairy and them singing it.
Everyone's holding hands.
Yes.
Ooh. Yeah, see again, all the practical effects stuff here, the miniature stuff is really, really good. But like I said, I mean it's Toho. Like at this point they're on top of the game. And also too, at this point I think they kinda also figured out how to maximize their profit. They know how to not spend too much money because they're so precise and so skilled at doing this that there's not a lot of figuring out time. Okay, we got to spend money to how we're going to do it. They know how they're going to achieve these effects.
Yeah.
But it is still cool to see them experimenting with CGI. I know it's not good CGI, but it shows them that they're kind of embracing still a little bit the future, which again, Toho and Kaiju cinema has always been very synonymous with like practical effects, suitimation puppets. But if you look way back when, I mean, they were already looking at this using CGI where they could, and during kind of the Millennium series of Godzilla films, CGI was sprinkled in. Who's they? Who's those do that? They say, okay, could we be a bit more specific? I one thing would be kind of curious too, because the twins, when they were twins, have always kind of traditionally felt more like kind of extensions of Mothra.
Yeah.
Whereas here, they feel like a race of tiny,
Like
humanoid
fairies or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would actually I would like to maybe them have explored that a bit more, because again, if you're not going to play up the whole we're twin fairies, magical kind of apparitions created by Mothra's psyche, basically, explore more of them about their culture, who they are, because
yeah.
But again, that's a really good composition, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Airplane.
Transforms. Okay, I will say this. This is actually pretty accurate what a plane looks like. There's not a lot of room in there. And it sounds like a weird thing to point out. Oh, it's funny they have to... See, stuff like this I like. Because if they're... I don't know. The twins have always been very, very stoic. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like here they're playing around with more than being kind of more characters and personalities. Even that's exactly as a toy moth.
I know.
It's funny. I first learned about this franchise when I moved to Okinawa. Because again, this movie wasn't, publicized outside of it. By that point, in the West, all we had of like anything Godzilla or anything Toho from the 90s was we had 84, which at the time we still had the Godzilla 1985 cut, and then we had Biollante that came out in 94, 95 in America. So when I got to Okinawa, I was like, I started seeing like figures of Mothra and Daisuke and all that, and I was like, wait, what the hell is this from? Is there a Godzilla movie that I missed?
Yeah.
So that's when I started to realize that, oh no, Toho had been cranking out films, well after those other ones, and that there was entire franchises that I hadn't even known about. So I first, but back then the internet wasn't even what it was. So I saw the toys and stuff. I didn't really know what it was from. I knew it was Mothra related. And then years later, they actually, I think I first saw these movies on the Sci-Fi Channel. And I was like, what? There was an entire Mothra trilogy with just Mothra in the 90s? It just blew me away. Of course, nowadays, someone made a Kaiju movie, or it would not go unnoticed.
Yeah.
There'd be stuff about it on the internet. But again, it was just so weird when I went to Okinawa. I realized that this entire like genre of film was so much larger than I thought it was. Oh shit!
He just get launched out of there.
He just like decided to randomly parkour.
I know. It's like there was an eject button and he just hit it. Eject. Man, she got there fast.
Like the earth just ejected him.
Yes.
Yeah, see right there. That's a good. Again, the composite shots are really good.
I was gonna say, 'cause that's a model, but it looks really good. Oh, good thing he ejected.
That one guy in the background looks way more worried than she does.
I was gonna say, I like how they're like, "Oh no, just let her go. She gets blown up. That's her thing."
The guy in the background's just like, "Senpai!" She's kind of adorable.
Her?
Yeah.
I know, I love her. Like, she's totally evil, but
she kind of has a bit of a more
it.
playful Witch Bandora, aka / Rita Repulsa kind of thing going on, which I dig. That's what I'm into. Sweetheart, that's what I'm into now. I want that.
I understand.
I love how it's got the shield. You should cosplay her.
I know, right? I liked her looks in the.
I know, she's got a good look. I like
their outfits get cooler each movie. So
look, I get evil is bad, but evil, I don't know, evil
but
just.
it looks so good.
It looks...
Oh, Jesus Christ!
God,
I apologize.
I want a divorce.
I understand.
I'm just kidding.
I understand.
They get one rock.
They just left the cameraman.
Again, there's moments that this film looks cheap, but then when they get to like all the kaiju
it's just
stuff,
the CG really. When they try to use it for like like fairy, it's like
it's like kind of PS1 graphics.
Oh no, my documents.
Jeez.
Jesus Christ. At least he jumped, makes it a little easier on the legs.
He parkoured into the windshield.
Yes.
Oh yeah, did you just notice?
I know, right?
It's like, if I look at it through the lens, it can't happen to me. He's so adorable. Okay, so...
All right. Flying a kite.
Okay, so here's my thing. I get this is geared more to kids. That's fine. But of all the people in the human world that could have contacted...
I know.
Maybe someone with a bit more, pull or higher up. Oh, jeez. See, all that is done so well.
I know.
They composite them really well in these shots.
I know. Hey, they've had a lot of practice, so.
Yeah. Well, again, otherwise they would have had to have built like a lot of little miniature sets. Like where they're standing right here, they would have to build like a forest floor set for them to kind of walk around. So obviously it's cheaper in the long run if they could just, film the shot and then put them in post, which...
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell that's what they did, but it still looks good enough to pass. Oh, that's awesome.
And it's so funny because I remember we were even saying that Ghidorah gets so many cool forms in these movies. Like,
I know, and that's the weird thing. Ironically enough, my favorite version of King Ghidorah is actually Grand King Ghidorah in the third film. And I think that's the best he's actually ever looked.
Yeah.
Because they call him Grand King Ghidorah for a reason. When you see him, he looks so impressive. And it's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
Kind of wasted on Mothra.
Hey, they could have used that design again, probably. Or something similar to it,
Yeah. Again, it was a really cool design. Like I said, I think on the surface, these movies kind of maybe feel more like throwaway movies, but then you watch them, they're really
good.
Not. They're good. Again, they're meant for a younger audience. Obviously, they're a lot more fun and lighthearted, but they're made exceptionally well. And some of the best use of like
Gonna say, compared to the Gamma movies, like besides the trilogy, I guess that would have been his direct competition, if anything.
Yeah.
But when you look at every other Gamma
Yeah.
movie, except for the first
well,
one,
yeah.
the blaster.
It's interesting how they basically they use the transition from a practical effect to. I mean, there it's a. Oh no, that's CGI right there, is it?
No, that's not.
That's a pub. Okay, but when they would like changing. Oh, well, I think it was. Both were still puppets or like a little thing, but the transition they used was digital. Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
He still looks really badass, even in this one.
Well, yeah, cool. It's
Just so funny.
Well, I know, but the thing I like about this design is that he's a quadruped, and you don't see that again till Godzilla Final Wars with Kaiser Ghidorah, where they made him a quadruped again.
Yeah.
And the irony is that makes it a more complex suit because at the very least the other one it was a bipedal stance, so the actor could just stand up straight in the suit. Whereas here, I'm not sure if they did the thing where it's two actors in the suit, one person controlling the front legs and the other person controlling the back, or he's, God forbid, the poor bastard's in there walking on his hands and legs. Basically, I don't know.
On like stilts on the front or something.
It might be that's the thing because when you see the suit, kind of the full shot of it, like I've seen this movie a lot, but I haven't watched it recently.
I know, it's been a while since we watched it.
Well, it's because when we started doing all these commentaries, we knew we were going to get to all of them. So
get your punk ass up.
I know, right?
I'll leave you behind.
Yeah, you were way more useful when you were like possessed by evil.
I know, right? When you're flying around and flinging shit.
I know, right? So is that like veganism? Sorry, I'm not making fun of vegans.
So basically, humans are appetizers.
Well, it's like how kaiju a lot of times too. They don't usually have direct interest in us usually because again, we're such on a small, our scale so much smaller than them that it's almost like why would they really take a direct interest in it? It's rare. I guess Mothra is one of the few kaiju that actually have direct involvement with it, and usually it's through the fairies. You
Seriously,
know what I mean?
though, like
I know.
real
Look
talk.
at that.
I know he's not gold, but look how badass the actual design is.
Well, I know. Look at all the.
He looks better than most Ghidorahs ever do.
Well, he's definitely one of the most
complex and
sophisticated designs.
Like, it's crazy. In a way, it's kind of like obviously something closer to this is when Godzilla 2 is going to probably do for...
Oh, the legendary Godzilla. Well, he is gold. I know that. And
well, yeah, but in terms of design, I'm saying.
Oh, you mean like how much details?
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I've only saw that one shot of him. We kind of see a little bit of his back under like all this ice. So you know that he's gold and scaly, and that's about it. But no, again, for a practical effect, you can see the level of...
So good.
But see, I think this is where most of the budget went. They basically like, all right, we're going to craft a very simple story, not hire... And also, too, these aren't probably very big-name actors. So a lot of people realize that when you do a film, part of the production budget goes in hiring the talent. So if you have an A-list talent, well, their fee is higher, so it costs more money. So that's why, if you have a film with Tom Cruise... It could be a romantic comedy. Well, that romantic comedy starring Tom Cruise is going to be more expensive than a romantic comedy starring, Joe Blow in his first movie because Tom Cruise's fee alone is going to be a lot more substantial. So, the Godzilla films got larger names in them, in a way a film like this could kind of cut costs and save some money is like, cast. I mean, I'm not too familiar with the actors in this film, but I when you consider half of them are children, they're not going to be as expensive. So that allows Toho then to kind of allocate budget to more of the, effects, aka the stuff you really want to see. So I like the fact that this film is not nearly as high profile as the Gamera trilogy or the Heisei Godzilla films, yet, and when it comes to the kaiju stuff, it delivers. It doesn't skimp out, and it actually gives you some of the more impressive, tokusatsu effects we've seen from Toho up to this point. I mean,
Yeah.
again, looks really, really good. This does not look like a cheap thing.
Again, it's just like I forgot what's her name, Belvera, the evil fairy.
Yeah.
Her dragon too, like the complexity of the puppet.
I know it's done very well, and that's again, Toho is smart. They're cutting the budget where they need to, and they're playing to their strength. They know that they can make really good practical effects, probably for cheaper. I love this shot right here. This looks really good, really epic.
He's like, am I tripping?
Yeah, yeah. For him, he's new to this. Look at him. He's
again?
like, wait,
We're not going to talk about that?
like, yeah, seriously, dude, you're standing in the forest that's on fire with a giant fucking dragon. It's just gonna like prioritize. I love that. Look at that. It's a great shot. Mm-hmm. Again, that's one thing I always love about the Mothra mythology. There's kind of a cool mystical element to it. And again, Godzilla has always been very much kind of like, well, not always. I was gonna say he's always been about dark gloom and doom, but not always. But I think that's where Godzilla shines best. Godzilla shines best when he's dark and metaphorical and, kind of like almost apocalyptic. Mothra, I love how there's a lot of mysticism and stuff. And I almost feel that because, and this might sound a bit sacrilegious on my part, but because Godzilla doesn't exist in this continuity, she's not tethered.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here we go, people. Get the jam.
They get their own little, like, light sigil and everything
I know.
going on.
It's like the movie takes a break to go to music video mode for them. Have an early Windows 95
It's like
screensaver.
it's like an old karaoke music video too, where it's like really corny. I love it.
You say corny, I'm down with it. If I go to a karaoke bar, I'd be busting out the Mothra song.
And it's so funny because each movie it gets better.
I know.
I love these movies.
I know they're not going to have the lyric song in King of Monsters, but I kind of hope there's like the musical, like the music, something included. Like you're going to find,
Not like, oh, I guess they're calling me. You see her with a little cane, or like a walker in the front. But she flies. Doesn't matter. Still got a walker.
You know the way they're going to do this in King of Monsters? They're not going to have this theme song, like, legitimate. It's going to be like some guy at Monarch's going to be monitoring a monitor where Mothra's egg, and he's just going to be whistling like a little tune, and it's just going to be the Mothra tune.
Like a cell phone will go off or something.
Yeah, and it'll be something like that, and that would have cost Legendary, like, $20 million.
Yeah.
And then Puff Daddy or P. Diddy, whatever he's calling himself now, will, like, sample it and do it as, like, the end credits like he did for, like, that Godzilla song.
Is he still relevant?
Well, he's still rich, so...
Well, does he make music anymore, though? I don't think he does.
I don't know.
He's like, I'm too rich for
I'm
that.
not up on my Diddy.
I know.
See, this looks so good.
I know.
And again, I always talk about this kind of thing, but, like, film nerd stuff, but I love the way he's lit. That that red underlight, it just... Because that's another thing, too, that makes the suits and the puppets look more believable.
Be like, bitch, you gonna burn?
Oh. Jesus. He's like...
I don't get paid enough for this.
He's just looking at her just like, is this life?
I know.
Is this going to be my life? Okay. Sorry. No,
I wonder if that was on purpose. Or if they just kind of like, oh, we'll go with it. Let me put my tie around it. Clearly, that will help.
What is that going to do? What is that going to do?
I don't know. Apparently, it's going to bind it.
Made my ankle like it's in a gang or something.
You're going to, like, cut off the circulation. Oh, motherfucker! Look who's here to party. Not to party, but...
And I can't remember. I think this is the first time Mothra has like lasers. Oh no, did she have this in?
She had something like it in.
I think it was yeah. And I like to like Dice Ghidorah, like he doesn't instead of having like, the golden lightning.
Yeah.
He's got like those weird like energy like red blast. I kind of saw the strings a little bit there.
So much glitter.
So much glitter. Yeah, look at. I'm trying to look at how the suit. I think it's like you said. I think the actor's legs are in the back legs, and I think
They're
he's got like
slightly
stilts.
hunched with stilts. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. Because otherwise,
But again, this is a man in a suit,
Yeah.
and yet look how much it hides the human like
Yeah.
form. Like, oh god damn!
yeah. Apparently, there's magma now. Remember when they were under just the forest a second ago?
Is this where are we gonna walk by and see Anakin just lying there without legs?
Oh man.
Mothra's like, don't try it, Dice Ghidorah. I have the high ground. Seriously, I just want to Photoshop that scene where like the Emperor is just hunched over Anakin. He's all burnt to shit. I'd much rather watch this movie.
Right?
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. She has real fire. Look
I
at
was gonna
that.
say
like,
actual fire.
God
Yeah.
damn, like.
Fucking opening up hell or
I
something.
know, like, this is epic. Like, my only complaint with this thing is the music is way too upbeat and heroic. Like, this doesn't look like Mothra is doing well here. Like, I think the music should be a bit more, like, Debbie Downer-esque.
Yeah. Oh.
Mothra's nearly dead in every movie. Like, that's kind of her theme. Mothra shows up, Mothra dies. Here's more Mothra. And also in this trilogy, Mothra has, like, different forms, which is really cool.
Pew pew, motherfucker.
So I've always tried to get a sense of scale. Like, I would love to see how big this suit was.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Yeah, that's... Oh.
Ow. What did you guys expect?
God, that looks so good.
That's the thing. I know they gave him like the little kind of baby wings here, but don't they get bigger after? I can't remember.
The wings?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Because again, in this series, we see 3 Ghidorahs. We
I
see
know.
Dice Ghidorah. We see Cretaceous Ghidorah when we go back to the Cretaceous period, which then becomes Grand King Ghidorah. Mm-hmm.
So cool.
I know, it really, really is. And I think these movies don't get as much attention as they deserve. But I know a lot of people were stoked when they found out they were releasing like these films on Blu-ray here in the West, which I was very happy because I always thought that these are really good movies and actually good use of like tokusatsu effects and there's a lot of cool original designs in this. Like,
Again, that's like a shame they never did anything else with the designs.
yeah, well, who knows? In the future, we might see it
Yeah.
again. I think because again, Mothra had to stand on her own in this film. She couldn't just be like, "Oh no, Mothra's dead," but don't worry, here's Godzilla here to save the day. That's why I think they had to really kind of expand on what Mothra was and could do.
It's a preemie Mothra baby. See, I'm like, were they seeing it in like a vision or something, or were they sensing it? I wonder.
Well, I think they're connected to Mothra. Again,
Well, yeah.
they're not like apparitions like they were clearly, I think, in the 90s. Well, in the film that in the 90s where Mothra fought Godzilla with Batra. But I still think they're like magical beings. So they have a connection to Mothra, but they exist independent of her. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's always been a little ambiguous what they are, but because they're not twins this time, and there's a third one, I think they're probably more like an actual race. They might be the last of their race, but like we don't have infant islanders in this movie where you
Yeah.
have like normal island people and then like the fairies, which I always kind of felt that that's how Mothra kind of communicated with
Ew.
humans. She used the fairies.
Oh yeah, and normally, do they always have the little tusk things? I
Yeah.
don't remember.
I think they stick out a bit more here,
Okay, I was gonna say yeah, because I don't remember being that.
pronounced.
Yeah, usually
kind of
the mouth thing was bigger. It's smaller here too.
and also too, if you look at the larva Mothra here, there's more detail on it.
Yeah.
And the way it undulates is a bit more organic. Again,
Yeah.
these movies are,
It's a little more sophisticated than before.
yeah, like I said, I mean, but then again, think about it, at this point too, Toho was making distribution,
Yeah.
money off the distribution of the Gamera franchise, which was doing very well. They made a lot of money off, the Heisei Godzilla films. And, even though 98 was kind of a botched job, they still
made money from it.
Yeah, well,
initially.
because I think they made money from the distribution of it in Japan, and also
Well,
just
the
selling,
rights,
yeah,
yeah.
selling the rights. So, if anything good came from '98, is that Toho made a lot of money off selling the rights to Godzilla, because again, Godzilla's rights have never come cheap. And, surprisingly, why was Godzilla the only Toho kaiju in 2014? Well, because he alone was very expensive.
That looks so cool.
I know.
I mean, not for Mothra. That sucks for Mothra.
Yeah, Mothra is kind of having a bad day. Mothra's having a case of the Mondays right here.
I'm too old for
Yeah, see,
this shit.
This music is a bit more
Yeah.
appropriate for what's happening on screen. God, he just looks so epic.
Now just imagine if all three were actually breathing fire, besides just the middle one.
Well, I would, even if they do it in a Godzilla movie, I would love to see like a movie where some of these other variations of Ghidorah
Yeah.
appear again, like because it's all part of the Toho pantheon, so they can just kind of because originally Mothra was not a part of the Godzilla franchise. The original Mothra film, there was nothing about it that you couldn't say wasn't a Godzilla movie, but at the same time, it was one of those things where there was no mention of Godzilla. So but I would love to see elements, like design features from these films, maybe make it into a Godzilla movie, or hell, just do more Mothra movies in the future too. I mean,
Hell yeah.
like I would not be opposed to that at all. Oh, fuck your peace offering.
Eat shit.
It is strange though. This feels. See, here's my thing. I feel like this movie is what the Showa era Gamera films either were trying to be and or should be, because again, it's much more kid friendly, but not in an obnoxious way. I love how apparently Mothra just snuck up on them,
I know, right?
like a giant building-sized moth, just kind of.
Remember how she used to fly and like destroy everything with her wings?
Yeah, I love how that that only conveniently happens when she's in a bad mood.
Do you know how?
He just throws it at her. Oh, I guess that didn't work. Again, I like how these kids aren't like super obnoxious, because again, I think that was one of the big failings of the
Yeah, they
Gamera.
were like always awful.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the problem. They really acted like kids. And the thing what they always say about when you do kids in movies, you don't really make them act like real kids. You kind of make them act like what you kind of think kids should act like, but realistically
They
wouldn't.
don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's... And I think that's kind of the problem with a lot of the Mothra or the Gamera films, that they felt too much like real kids, and real kids at that age just kind of suck. No offense, but they do. Like, you try to put up with children who are like 8, 9, 10 years old. It's just like, oh my god.
Well, and sometimes they were way younger.
Yeah, and that, well, I think towards the end, that was the mistake they made. They went super young, and it was just like, oh my god, like, I'm waiting for someone to change their diaper at any minute. Like, here, it's like, okay, I mean, the sister's younger, but again, I think the way they kind of present the kids here works a lot better. I always wondered, how is Mothra swimming? Like,
I know.
How is this working? I guess she's, like, undulating, right?
I guess. Maybe through sheer willpower again.
Like they were saying.
Yes. See, I know they're kind of making her go up and down, but if anything, they probably... I know it would be, you would have had to rig a whole nother suit, but to make it go side to
Yeah,
side
but I don't
instead.
think her body can go side. I think it's...
Well, that's what I'm
her
saying.
undulation.
I feel like they would have had to make another suit to do it that way.
Yeah. Somebody tells me Dice Ghidorah took up a lot of the budget. But I gotta say, though, man, those composite shots are still...
Made some good timing, that's for sure.
By the way, little fun fact here. This was the last film produced by Tamayuki Tanaka. He had basically done a lot of the Godzilla films from the Heisei era.
That makes us smile.
Again, I like how they made these guys really interesting characters. Because, like I said, the fairies have always have to work very much in tandem with the human characters.
Yeah.
And I like here how they managed to make them really, like, full-fledged characters.
Well, and you can, like... I don't want to say they kind of lacked personality before, but these ones, they really have individual personalities, too.
Well, I think before that, they were more like plot devices. They were there in a weird way to kind of communicate Mothra's thoughts, feelings, intentions to us, the audience. They were basically just kind of glorified mouthpieces, whereas here, they kind of have to carry the story.
I like how the fucking preemie Mothra baby here is kicking ass.
I know.
It's like, yeah, motherfuckers. It's like, hey, Mom, you want to help out?
I know, right? Oh. Well, that was that. That's cool.
I know.
But just think all the rigging for all the wiring they would have to do
I
here
know.
for this, how complex that is. Because again, now it's like I was talking to some of the folks in Tokyo, and we were talking about like, you know, differences between using tokusatsu and obviously CGI. Because now CGI, you can do anything. You can take any kind of design feature and do anything with it. Whereas here, the more complex and intricate and large, you know, the suit is, the more you got to get creative in how to move that thing around. Because again, he's on 4 legs. He's got 3 heads. There's a lot to figure out here.
I was going to say, besides Biolante, it's probably some of the...
Most complex.
Yeah.
I think Biolante Stowe's the largest.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The second form one.
Yeah, it's the
Just
largest.
because of how, like, the tentacle vines.
And just the overall size.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Ooh. Yikes. Oh.
Mothra looks like she bleeds baby diarrhea.
Ew.
Is that
Could have
gross?
just said paint.
That's that color, right?
Ah.
You're welcome, folks.
Gross. She has a baby, technically, so.
Yeah, okay, so there
Maybe
you go.
she's pooping herself.
Oh, God. Not really about Mothra giving up so much as, like... And I love when Mothra always does kind of this last stand kind of thing.
To be fair, I'm like, why are they standing on a cliff? Or was that where the magma was before?
Yeah, what happened to that giant
I
sea
know.
of lava? Remember that? Remember the episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, like lava stream we
I
saw?
know.
Like that's just, I guess that dried up.
Guess so. Yeah, it was done. Oh, that's green.
I love that she's the screamer.
I know.
What was that look you just gave me? I had a little sideways glance again. Listen, I'm just saying.
Just saying, she's a screamer.
We don't know, but it just seems like that's how she reacts. She's much more enthusiastic or very
stop.
kind of animated about things,
Just
so
stop.
I'm just saying.
You know what? Just stop. This is a kids movie.
Gotta grow up sometime. Poor Mothra. Whoa.
Fucking laser motherfucker.
I know, like, Mothra just comes equipped with, like, her own maser cannon now.
But hers is semi-effective, unlike actual lasers.
Well, that's good.
It's so tiny.
I know. Mothra's pretty badass, though. Look at her. She's just
I know.
rolling in against that, like... I love how, like, intense this fight is, too.
I
It's
know.
like...
Oh.
Oh.
Time for the classic Mothra grab. Oh, except she's lasering as well. Oh.
Oh, I guess they both screamed that time, so I guess it's not just her.
Those beefy tree trunk legs.
Oh. Just grinding that wing, and then it's like, ow.
Oh.
But again, I love how this is like a legit battle to the death. It's really
know.
like, again... But I think Mothra has always been kind of an underdog character, because she always ends up going against...
Fucking giant ass
yeah, that
opponents.
that's kind of the difference too with Godzilla. Godzilla, even though he's gone against opponents that are larger than him, he still gets in there and just whoops ass. I mean, it's almost... So it's a very different kind of, like, dichotomy in terms of, like, a matchup, whereas...
Wow, how did they get across that giant ravine they saw them from?
Maybe they swam across the lava stream. I don't know. Things kind of happen for convenience a little bit in this film.
It's okay, though. It's
Yeah.
okay. It looks cool. That's
It
all
looks
that
cool. That's all that
matters.
matters.
Fucking Predator Mothra,
I know, right?
baby.
Well, Mothra's got that big, apparently, stomach laser now, so she could just kind of, like, blast a hole in Daisuke
Alright.
Dora the way the Predator did Jesse the Body Ventura in the first Predator movie.
Hey, Dad. Thanks for showing up.
Ouch.
What about your face? It's all scratched up.
Your arm hurts, really? Really?
I'd be like, my body hurts. God, Dad. Back to the.
So it's
fucking
just the
fire.
middle head that breathes fire, right?
Yeah. So I was saying it'd probably be way too hard to rig up, but it'd be awesome if all three did.
I would love to see like how what the internal kind of workings of that is, though, because whenever they use like practical fire in a suit, I'm always like, that's incredible. That's basically
Well, if you've noticed, the third head is also, or the middle head is bigger too.
yeah.
So that's probably why.
But it's weird. Basically, built on that suit is a flamethrower.
Yeah.
And there's a guy in the suit, so basically he's in something that can produce fire. So if something went wrong with that suit, the actor inside could be in,
yeah.
a lot of trouble. What was that?
I think he was supposed to be kicking dirt at the fire, but it just kind of looked like he was running in place for a minute. It's like, I gotta get excited.
He just starts revving up and then like runs up the side of the.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, his shoe's on fire a little bit.
Oh.
Okay, Dad. Time to burn.
I know.
Oh, thank God, my child. Oh, my husband, I guess.
I feel like this is a more serious move. That's exactly what would have happened. He would have like
Yeah.
just fallen.
That would have been his punishment for kind of starting all this.
Well, to be fair, it was really in a lot of ways the daughter too kind of helped.
Yeah, but it's because they were logging. His company was
Oh,
logging.
yeah.
Yeah, so otherwise she never would have been possessed. Why is it just his feet on fire?
Seriously, I'm getting a Revenge of the Sith kind of like flashback moment here.
Boom.
I like it again. It kind of fires him off like the balls, like Gamera does. Oh look, a dam. I bet
She's
you
like,
that's not going to break.
I know.
I'm confident that won't break. Oh.
Ouch.
Ooh.
Remember me? I'm back.
Hi-da-ho! That looks so scary.
I know.
Yeah, she's still screaming. I'm sorry, but
It's just how she is, man.
it's funny. You really don't think about it, but like the majority of this movie is basically one big fight.
Oh, yeah.
This actually might even be the most intense Mothra battle.
I know, right? Go big or go home.
Yeah. There you get a good look at the whole suit. Like,
I
yeah, that
know.
is impressive.
The sculpting, the paint, like...
I know,
so
look at
good.
that. And the fact that it's, like, getting washed away here.
I know. Why are you hitting me? I gotcha, baby.
It's weird that the larva's bigger than Mothra and the moth form.
Yeah, I think that's just because those are the two practical suits. Or not, like the ones they actually use.
Yeah.
But normally, you'd see Mothra was a lot bigger before.
Yeah, because look at that. Like, damn.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, I guess if a lot of times if you look at a larva, they tend to be bigger, and then when they obviously, ow,
I know, right? That'd be funny if she just, like, throws it, like, the larva skips across the
Yeah.
water. But, yeah, it can be small, be a bit more aerodynamic, I guess. That's a good shot right there.
the powder's gonna come off your wings.
Don't worry, we got a spare.
I know, right? I like how they couldn't just, like, go on land. They just had to land in water for this, by the way. No, Mommy, you can't die now.
Gonna have a Titanic Jack sinking in the water moment.
I know, right? Where's the bed frame, you know? And now, so did they just climb down this cliff with a waterfall, apparently? She's like, shut up. No, Mothra, stay above the water. Never let go.
Again, it's actually kind of like a really sad, like
I know.
heart-wrenching moment. You know, it's
I was born prematurely just to save you. You can't die now.
oh god.
How can they see from where they are, though?
Do they see or do they sense? Like, are they like
Well, I
connected
don't know how
now?
the kids would.
I like how she's the
I know.
stoic one. God, that's again like didn't you just watch Mothra just drown? Like seriously, this is what the show or Gamera film should have been like.
No, mommy. Now watch her body sink.
Well,
even
but
though
it's kind of-
realistically she'd float, but that's okay.
It's I don't know. It's shot so it's dramatic. Mothra just sinks, gracefully below, and then it's like all this right here. Usually, the passing of the torch between like the larva and the previous moth. It's always like
Usually she sacrifices herself and she turns to like gold glitter or whatever.
yeah, and dies, and then the other one is born. But this is like I think the first time where we really see like one watches the other die and is aware of that because usually they're just born like okay, I'm Mothra. You know what I mean? But this is one where it's like, okay. But I also think it's implied, too, that the other ones Mothra is kind of reincarnating herself. Whereas here, I think it's very much like, no, these are two different Mothras.
Well, yeah, because remember what one of the sisters said before, like, oh, back then there was a bunch of Mothras, now there's only one.
Yeah, so,
and the baby,
whereas before, I think there was always one Mothra. She's like a phoenix, dies, rebirth, dies. So when you see a new one kind of get born, it's kind of pretty much like the soul of the same one. So this is really like, wow, This is like you're being born, and then you watch your parent die.
Yeah.
Again, it's such a kind of touching moment, and it's shot very well. It's again, man, these movies are on point. And I'm always telling people like, check out the Mothra trilogy. Everyone talks about the Gamera trilogy in the '90s, and while I feel that is the better trilogy. I feel these films don't get nearly enough attention.
No.
Which is funny because, as a whole, Mothra is more an iconic figure worldwide than
know.
Gamera. Like, the average person has heard of Mothra. There's a lot of people who have never heard of Gamera outside of, the Kaiju fandom.
We sure hope so.
I like how these two just seem lost.
I know.
They're like, what is life? See, if I was their parents, I'd be like, no, you take that. Don't come back and suck my kids into this. Who are we kidding? We have a kid, and like the Mothra fairies show up and be like, guess what? You got some manifest destiny. I'd be so jealous. Like, can I hold on to the amulet? No, your children must. Oh. And here, I like how you're seeing the fallout. That you're seeing people like, look at that guy. Like, Jesus.
Bloody.
Again, I feel they could have glossed over this very easily, but it's like realistically, something like this happens. It's like people are going to be hurt. People are going to be dying, and I like how they're showing consequence. Like, even in a more kid friendly. I keep saying it's kid friendly. This movie's got a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I think it's a kaiju film with kids in it. I don't really know if it's like a kids movie though, but again, I like how we're seeing even in a movie like this consequence.
To be fair, I feel like Japan in general, whether it's movies or anime, I feel like they don't try to, kid it up, so to speak, for like, quote unquote kids
they don't
movies
try
as
to
much.
pretend like, oh look, the city was magically all evacuated.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, I was gonna say, I remember there being wings at one point.
Well, again, that they always show you that there's something at stake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, listen,
And there's consequences.
yeah.
So cool.
Like how they changed the front limbs here a little bit.
Did they?
Well, now they're not, like, this isn't an actor flying in a suit now. This is like a big kind of
Well, I guess, yeah.
puppet, so they kind of give the front arms were a bit more of a bend.
I'm gonna drink this water. Oh, are you actually drinking the fish water? Okay. I got worried for a minute. I'm sure there's tap water somewhere, but yes, let's take the water from the fish tank.
That's like the metaphor is supposed to be like, you're helping the environment while you're destroying the habitat of another organism at the same time. It's like, That's a beautiful shot right there. Like the sunset, against the water.
Yeah.
Again, I know sometimes we're probably gushing unnecessarily over these movies, but again, it's just there are so many gems of kaiju films that are overlooked, and because I think they get kind of overshadowed by like the larger, more obvious, movies.
Yeah.
But again, I think.
Oh, and I know a lot of people don't really like Mothra. She's not given the respect she deserves.
But I think, again, making this a trilogy was a wise move. Like the
Yeah.
Gamera films, you kind of can plot out a course and then just allocate the budget accordingly. Whereas, like the Godzilla films, they kept cranking them out because it's Godzilla. But I definitely think in the Heisei era, you can see the ones that received a bigger budget versus other ones that they kind of cut corners on because they wanted to put out another Godzilla movie. But I think, unfortunately, kind of towards the middle end, it kind of like, we're kind of, we're pinching pennies here a little bit, and then you get to Destroya, which, okay, big lavish budget again. So I almost kind of feel that perhaps there's something to be said for a trilogy because you know what your beginning, middle, and end is going to be, hopefully, and from there you can then allocate a budget and then have each film feel like they got kind of the money they needed to kind of tell the story they needed. You don't feel like some of them are like, oh, well, this was really cool in concept, but unfortunately because it wasn't given enough money, it doesn't really look as good as it could have. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking that maybe even for the Godzilla films, like the legendary Godzilla films, they're planning a trilogy unless they do more. I know the Godzilla animated series that's currently going on right now is a trilogy. So I think it's just, I don't know. It's maybe a more economic approach as opposed to just constantly doing a bunch of them.
Yeah.
If you got the money to keep, putting into them, but again, I think for these kinds of films that
That taxidermy squirrel.
like, look at this, man. People are like dying in here. Like this is, and again, I like how it's a very gloomy kind of feel. It's not brightly lit. There's
Yeah.
By the way, 1996. Look how small that guy's cell phone is.
I know, it's not a fucking,
Brick.
brick.
Where you would see them like in America at this point, and they were literally like. We'll keep it for you.
You've got a problem, dude. Oh, Jesus.
He's like, please don't say that any louder.
I know.
But see, again, I like this because you're seeing kind of the drama. He's blaming again. It's not just like monster of the week. We got to save the day stuff. People are dead and dying. There's a lot of just fallout, and and he's kind of saying, this is your fault. This is.
To be fair, he's kind of right.
Yeah, but it's you can't really like blame him because
it's kind of like human ignorance. Like, yeah, because he was doing what he was doing, this happened.
But yeah, he
couldn't have known this was going to happen.
But to be fair, that guy doesn't know that.
Well, yeah.
The guy's not the part of the little Mothra in crowd there. So all he saw was, hey, that guy did the thing that released that monster. And now people are dead, people are dying. Look, I'm all fucked up. It's like, for all we know, I almost kind of think to make that scene have even more weight, someone he knew should have died. And for all we know, someone he knew did die. Like those people in the van, for all we know, they died. And I kind of think they maybe kind of should have showed that a bit more, kind of explain, people he knew about it died. Now you're angry, and you suddenly see the guy who unleashed the monster, and you're just like, this is your fault. I can't go out and kill the monster and get revenge that way, so you feel powerless. But you see the guy, and then you're like, okay, someone to blame. And we're getting Mothra's second single ever.
Well, they did sing the other song before when they were like, the baby was hatching, remember?
Was it a different? Yeah, but it wasn't. Was that the Mothra's?
No, it was a different song.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, that's right. It was a different song. Again, I like how they're using music as a thematic element too, because again, Mothra's got her own, Mothra's got her jam, so it's kind of. It feels like that's kind of like how their magic works. It's through song. That's kind of a cool.
I've always loved that when they do magic through songs.
Yeah, it's
in any kind of like show or movie. It's always so cool.
Well, they will explain too when you sing, you're actually using a different part of your brain.
Hi. Well, monkeys.
Oh! Again, I like how Mothra is very much of the earth, and you're seeing all that. Where again, Godzilla kind of feels more apart from it.
Yeah.
Even in the Legendary film, where I get it, he's a naturally occurring creature, but he's of a different time. Mm-hmm. So whenever you see Godzilla on screen in the modern world, regardless if he's a pure mutation or from an older age, he is always apart from the world as it is in that moment. Whereas Mothra is always kind of a part of it. So again, I think that's kind of some of the cool things you can do with making Mothra as like your main protagonist kaiju in your movie is that she kind of is. You can tell you can make a different kind of movie with her. Mm-hmm. I don't think you could really successfully do such a Captain Planet-esque movie with Godzilla without making it feel really, really forced. Even though the new Godzilla animated film, it's all about how Godzilla has turned. Yeah. But that's the thing. Godzilla had warped the planet. Godzilla's kind of like a god that twisted and turned the Earth into something of his own design. Mm-hmm. Whereas Mothra is very much a product of the world as it is. So again, it's just
the natural world. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She didn't have to alter the world. Because again, both of these characters, I think one of the reasons why they're both so iconic is that they're very thematic. Mm-hmm. They both represent something very kind of specific. Again, you can tell a different kind of story with Mothra than you can Godzilla. So I'm glad that, again, ultimately Toho resurrected the Godzilla franchise pretty quick because 98 was just...
Yeah.
It just left such a bad taste in Godzilla fans' mouths worldwide, and unfortunately, people who are not familiar with Godzilla were, thinking, oh, so this is what Godzilla is, and I think that's ultimately why Toho was like, okay, we got to hurry up and get Godzilla back because we can't have a whole new generation of people thinking that is what Godzilla is. But I would have liked to have seen them maybe do more stuff like this. Because, again, I think they have such a great catalog of characters that, while I love seeing Mothra in Godzilla movies, and I don't mind seeing them produce other kaiju films that are not Godzilla, because again, I think there's so much you can do, because when you introduce Godzilla into the framework of the narrative, you are automatically have to do certain things. See, right there, that's the digital shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this movie is very beautiful. It's shot very...
Yeah. I was like, man, just imagine if they made it now.
I know. And that's cool how that's done.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot, because the design's different too. It's got green eyes and little like fuzzy antennae.
Yeah, I think this is a male.
And the wings are pointier too.
Listen to the sound. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the difference here. I can't remember if they say it or not, but also the Mothra's always been a female.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what they're implying here, that this is a male.
I don't know.
Because if you look at him, he's got more angled features, more...
Yeah, even the eye is slightly...
Yeah.
And he's more green.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the first time we've seen the Mothra design change at all. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, too, because Mothra's going to have different transformations in this franchise and take on really different forms.
Yeah. Jesus. Well, I guess you don't deserve saving then.
Well, fine. Then you can die.
It's like the whole Mothra franchise. It's just an insect, but don't write it off.
I know.
Just...
So yeah, I'm pretty sure that this Mothra is called Leo. Hey, Tokyo Tower. If you go to Japan, make sure or Tokyo, make sure you stop there. So yeah, this is a male Mothra.
Mm.
Which I gotta say, which also too is like makes sense, because now Mothra is not like this single kind of entity, whereas before it was always like Mothra wasn't really implied that she was part of a species, but rather like, again, like a god.
Oh yeah, did Mothra have little like face antenna? Yeah, she did. She had the little face antenna too.
But if Mothra is now, there were once a lot of them, that would imply, male, female. So again, they're taking advantage of like the change in mythology, and now you can have a Mothra that looks different because again, it's a male. So I like how there's sexual dimorphism here. It's.
Mm-hmm. I just love his fuzzy antennae.
I know.
Have you seen, what are they called? I think they're called like lunar moths or something, where they're all fluff. They're so cute. They should have made a Mothra like that. Get on it, Toho.
And again, I like how, I don't know, maybe this is very sexist of me, so I apologize.
No, it's not a lunar moth.
But I like how this Mothra, perhaps because he's male, he's fighting more aggressively.
Yeah.
Like, Mothra always felt very defensive in nature, but this Mothra seems like he's going on the offensive. Like, he's going... Look at him. He's going, like, after Daisuke, which I like. Look, he's playing chicken, too. Oh! Did not flinch. Damn.
Yeah, poodle moth. That's what I'm thinking of. If you haven't seen it, look it up. It looks like a Pokemon. It is so fluffy.
Oh, and I like how he can... I like how he can come apart and take on, like... He basically become like a swarm.
I was going to say...
That's a really cool power.
Swarm mode engage.
And it's a really effective way of fighting something, because if you're physically smaller than your opponent, you can't, like, overpower... Ooh. You can't overpower them. Then if you become many, then you can kind of, like, overwhelm them. Because there's really not one thing that you can focus on when you... Yeah, damn, look at these powers. Holy shit.
Full on Pokemon mode.
This kind of feels like if you're playing a video game and it's like a side scroller, like a tournament fighter, like you just kind of launch those across the screen like that.
Got like that the forehead beam.
Yeah. Yeah, like Daisuke Dora has fewer abilities, more physical strength, whereas this Mothra feels like it has more offensive attacks because he can't overpower Daisuke Dora, but he has more, like, again, things he can just kind of shoot at him, basically. Which gives him, like, the long-range advantage.
Oh, yeah, and he's got, like, the stinger on his butt. I don't think Mothra had a stinger. I don't know. Stinger's not the right word, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Here they go again. Do it, do it, do it. Damn, look at that.
Ow.
Oh.
Ouch.
Oh, it looks like he broke one of his necks.
Oh, no.
It's weird that it was a robot the whole time.
I know, but I'm still like... So who made this robot? Did she make it?
And I like how they still went to save her.
Mm-hmm. She's like, no, let me die.
I love this Mothra's, like, cry. You can tell it's got more bass to it. This Mothra's all about that bass.
Yep.
Mothra, look at his front arm. Look like about ready to choke someone out.
I was thinking that too.
Mothra about ready to choke a bitch. She just goes up on that middle head and just like,
oh,
ah!
man.
Ooh. Yeah, seriously. What do you think of this Mothra in a Godzilla movie?
See, I can't help but wonder if, again, they, in the American Godzilla 2, if they're gonna make Mothra have a lot more, like, shit like this for attacks and stuff.
I don't know, but that would be pretty sweet.
I know.
Like, damn.
Because, I mean, that's the thing. Besides, the one where she was with Batra, like, she doesn't really have many attacks besides, like, wind gusts and glitter.
Damn.
Oh. That sucks for you. And a
Straight murder.
Sparkly explosion.
Straight murder.
So much glitter.
Damn. Again, the problem with these films, well, in terms of kind of the larger knowledge of Mothra, is that really outside Japan, the average Joe is not familiar with these movies, and therefore is not familiar with this kind of iteration of Mothra. So the idea of Mothra, being a guy, first of all, and having different forms, being able to change, and having so many powers and abilities, they might just see that like, oh, you've changed the character too much, because they're more familiar with the kind of classic,
she's just a moth.
Yeah, more traditional Mothra. But I am not opposed to, even if it's the old female Mothra, I giving her more abilities and expanding upon what she is. Because Godzilla, I mean, I don't know, I mean, Godzilla's kind of like a great white shark. You don't have to do too much with him to change him, even though recently he's gone under a lot of different, oh, damn.
The seal.
Yeah. It's like Mothra's tag.
I know, right?
But
that's
yeah,
a good arm there, son.
But again, so many people again say, "Oh, Mothra's weak. Mothra can't do shit," and I'm like, "Have you seen these movies?" Like, but a lot of people, unfortunately, aren't as familiar with these three films, which is a shame. Because
again, even when she's with Batra, I'm just like, okay, she still kicks ass.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's more of a team up in there.
I guess, but again, I don't know. I like that they really expanded upon the character here. Because Mothra was pretty much unchanged up to this point, you know.
He goes and squashes Belvira. She's adorable. I love her.
Well, even though she tried to murder a lot of people. That's the thing. She really is.
Listen. She was so cute doing it, though.
He just steps on her.
I know.
again, though, I like how here now you're realizing that, okay, that she wasn't just,
Yeah.
evil for evil.
But
She's
again, I'm like, what's your story, Belvera? Why is there no backstory movie on you?
But again, I like how they're implying to like she's, and to be fair, she's not entirely wrong.
Yeah.
Like she's even saying that, like, yeah, you found a couple good humans, good for you, but there's still out there, plenty out there. Like she did what she did to help the planet, like in her way. Because again, most villains, true
A
villains,
bit of a troublemaker. That's kind of an understatement.
But again, I think elder sister, so maybe she's older, she's been around, she's seen more stuff. But again, I think it's interesting idea that
Well, see, they just said her, so...
I guess I don't know. Like I always kind of read
Maybe
that
she's just breaking gender stereotypes, okay?
maybe I always heard that this was a male. I don't know. It could be just a translation.
True.
But it's,
How did she get the wheelchair through this forest with a bunch of bricks or sticks everywhere? See, the husband was in a wheelchair.
It's Japan.
How did they get
probably
up
have
there?
wheelchair access.
How did they get up there, babe?
The wheelchair transforms and has like mech legs.
What happened to all the sticks they were just on? Yes, stand. That's a good idea.
It's a good shot right here. I like how they're framed in the shot. It's actually really
I've
nice.
seen some shit.
But again, you kind of understand where she's coming from because again, in her way, she's doing what she's supposed to do as like one of Mothra's envoys. She's protecting the world from that which threatens it, and based on what she's probably seen of humanity over the centuries, she's probably thinking like humanity is the greatest threat to the world. So it's kind of like what they said at the end of Advent of Legion and Gamera. Like Gamera was created to protect the world from danger and destruction. If we don't change our ways, Gamera might one day view us as the threat and turn on us. So it's kind of like Mothra didn't turn on us, but kind of an extension of Mothra did. So if that could happen with one of the, the fairies, who's to say one day it couldn't happen to Mothra? You know what I mean? And so I kind of like the implication behind that. Like you can see them up there too.
I know. Mothra is saving it.
I like how they color corrected the film.
I know.
But that would be digital, them doing that. So again, I like how you're seeing some post-production work using CGI.
Yeah.
Which I think is a lot of how Toho really got started doing the CGI stuff is like kind of the, stuff like this where it's more subtle. It's again, it works though. I mean,
Mothra's like, I fixed your mistakes, so please don't fuck up again.
I know. It's the last time. Of course, have fun pushing him through that field of tall grass in that wheelchair.
Hey, it's better than through the, dead forest that was there and then disappeared.
Again, this movie is always way more kind of intense than I always remember it. I
know.
For as many times as I've seen it, when I think I kind of again fall into that stereotype of Mothra sometimes. Unfortunately, when I think back, I'm like, yeah, it's the Mothra trilogy, and then I go back and watch it. I'm like, my God, these movies are
I always
so well
remember.
made.
I'm like, man, I love the Mothra trilogy, and then I watch them. I'm like, man, it's so fucking good.
I think it's because they're not like dark movies, and I think people kind of forget about it, but they're so well made.
It doesn't have to be super dark.
Oh
and
no, I
gloom
agree.
doom.
And again, I like that there was kind of a tonal difference in these films. Like they weren't trying to make Mothra a different kind of character. They weren't trying to turn Mothra into Godzilla.
They kind of stayed true to her.
Yeah,
so.
but they expanded on what Mothra
Yeah.
could be as opposed to changing Mothra. They allowed the character to kind of evolve and really grow because now Mothra feels like has become more of what Mothra could be.
Yeah.
And that's what I like.
I like how you can see the little dots where the lasers came out of.
again, it's one of the better Mothra puppets they've made.
I know.
But no, again, it's a very well-balanced movie. Mm-hmm. But I think above all else, it's like you say, it's a fun movie.
So, the fuck you say? I don't know why he looks so serious.
I know,
right
he got
here.
like brain dead for a second. I think the day just kind of caught up with him.
I know.
We've all been there.
Her
Seriously,
too.
what are these kids with like the dead eyes here? Like, what's going on here?
I think they're trying to look kind of like serious and
just
stoic, but
Became a little like Children of the Corn there.
I know.
It's like,
they all just kind of look sad and dead.
well, think of the day they've had.
Especially the
man.
dad. He's just like,
Well, look at him. He's.
shouldn't you guys be like smiling and happy?
But no, again, it's a very.
That's better. There you go. You can do it.
But no, it's a very well-made film and a very underrated film. Mm-hmm. But no, I would like to see more elements from these Mothra films come into play in future films, because I kind of feel like.
Look how fucking beat up these children are, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Well, again, I like that these kids are messed up. They went through some shit. Like in the Gamera films, the kids always look just like fine.
Super clean.
Yeah, these kids are messed up. Really, the
Fucking-
mom looks
yeah.
probably fared the best out of everyone. No, I love that rainbow effect on it. Mm-hmm. But again, having a world without Godzilla, but with Mothra, it allows Mothra, I think, to kind of be something that she or he couldn't be in a film with Godzilla, because Godzilla automatically roots it in a degree of darkness, which is fine. I love that, but I'm just saying, if you're gonna do Mothra without Godzilla, this is how you do it, and I think they did it exceptionally well. And because of that, you weren't missing Godzilla. As much as I love Godzilla, at no point was I feel like, oh man, this would be better with Godzilla. No, they found a way to make a Mothra standalone movie where Mothra truly, truly shines on her own. So yeah, definitely gets a strong recommendation from me, and I know definitely from you.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where the budget just gets lost. They go to Crayola. But yeah, so that is the first entry in the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy. We've got two more that I am very much looking forward to. The next one takes place in Okinawa, so one of my old stomping grounds. But anyway, guys, we will catch you then. Thanks for listening. And as always, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace!
Peace.